Good morning, afternoon, good night, depending on where you're at in the world. Please hit that subscribe button and like. I need 50 subscribers in order to go live. And I would like to go live every day. Until then, I'll just make videos and share. What I have to offer as far as making videos, I'm not going to be political. I'm going to stay away from judgment. I have a traditional martial arts background, okay, as far as training goes, originally. Then I got into Jeet Kune Do. I studied a lot more boxing and sparring and was able to, see where things could be applied. Before that, before all of that, I grew up fighting. I grew up, being able to fight, not having a problem with protecting myself. But the one thing I couldn't do was protect me from my own self. So what I teach now is defense from self instead of self-defense, which it changes things. You don't need to get a gi on. You don't need to train actively as far as physical. The philosophies I teach is really what helps. Each month, I'm going to be talking about 3 different concepts to live by. And after talking about that, you'll be able to take that philosophy and apply it to your life. As a martial arts instructor, that's where I saw the most benefit. There is a lot of people in traditional martial arts that no matter how much they train, physically they wouldn't be able to protect themselves. However, if it's a woman or a little kid walking with confidence, they're probably going to be looked at differently as a target. If you're if you're unaware, you look scared, you look feeble, you walk with bad posture. That's really what makes a target. And looking at the numbers, there's very low percentage of people that even get in one fight in their life. And the chance that you're going to come across somebody who is trained that actually will fight after they're trained is it's under like 3 or 2%. And then the people beyond that are usually teachers and whatnot. And so that 3 to 5% are only weekend warriors that come in and out of training. So even then, they're not going to be able to protect themselves that great unless they have pressure training, some type of boxing added to it, some type of wrestling or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You have to have pressure. You have to have resistance so you can understand how the traditional martial arts, where 2 people are working together, you understand how things could be applied. Now, there's a lot of things that people haven't practiced traditional martial arts looking in. They look in and there's a lot you can't understand unless you feel some of those things. So I get it. There's a lot of judgment on that. But like I say, I come from both sides. And if you take John Jones and you put him in a traditional martial art that he's never trained in before, you don't think that's going to enhance what he does? Because that's exactly what it's going to do. But as teachers out there, it's up to you. You have the responsibility to teach your students. If you don't feel they can protect themselves, that needs to be guided. That needs to be guided and let them understand that, walking away for everybody, whether you can fight or not, is a win, right? Some of the biggest egos have the hardest time walking away. And what happens there is there's the way the human mind works. There's awareness, there's assessment, or a phase where you're learning about that awareness, and then there's taking action and jumping in, right? If our ego gets in the way, a lot of times we'll go from the realization or awareness to jumping in. And usually the phase of thinking comes in after you're in trouble, after you ruined a situation, after you shut the party down because you knocked somebody out on accident. After you just, your ego could get in the way. That's what I want to get at. And as a teacher, money could get in the way. Okay? I've had parents come up to me and offer me money for belts for their children because they felt that they were a little slow to develop. And that's not even an option for any good teachers out there. That is not an option. You're not going to sell belts. You're going to make sure that that person understands that level before they move on. Because a lot of times, once you move on, you have a bunch of new information and you don't spend time really breaking down and understanding the information you learned before at that level. I'll tell you, when I was going for the higher levels, I'm an 8th degree black belt in a Japanese jiu-jitsu. The 8th degree is basically teacher's levels. I had to bring up 7 people to black belt level in order to get my teacher levels. So that's what that is. 7 in the Japanese martial arts, there's a lot more techniques involved as far as learning techniques, as to where a lot of the other jiu-jitsu arts, you learn as you roll, you learn as you work through resistance. You can never have a favorite technique because the true artists just do what's necessary in the moment. So, I was always asked, what's your favorite technique? And I'll tell you, my favorite techniques are basics done by high-level people. Because if you look at all the programs out there, and a lot of high-level teachers will say this, a lot of the programs out there, the self-defense programs that you see for anybody, for women, I'm talking about the short form ones, the 2-day seminars, the week seminars where you're giving someone something, or the military, when you're giving them something that depends on their life depends on, it's a different way of teaching. And it's just basics, hammering the basics, hammering those fundamentals, and a lot up here about awareness and understanding, maybe things they didn't see before. There's a lot of transitional things in the martial arts that people don't realize, like the different length of weapons. They could represent a rifle. And those certain techniques that you use to take away those weapons or work your way in or defend against those weapons are very applicable to modern day weapons. Okay, so there's a lot of misunderstanding that I'm gonna help people understand. Like I say, my highest level is in a Japanese jiu-jitsu, but I didn't just stick with that. I cross-trained. You have to cross-train. If you don't cross-train, you're not going to understand your knowledge like you should. And if anyone gets you on the ground and holds you down and you can't get up and they understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you are going to freak out. You are going to feel like you can't breathe. You're going to feel claustrophobic. And you're going to forget everything you know. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So, if you are a high-level traditional martial arts teacher, I challenge you to put on a white belt. Be a beginner again. Walk into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. Walk into a boxing gym. Understand what it's like to be attacked with someone who knows what they're doing. And if you can apply what you know in those situations, going back to the numbers I brought up, how little a percentage that you're going to come across someone on the streets who actually knows what they're doing. Other than the bigger, faster, stronger folks, there is a few. I grew up with a few that I probably still wouldn't mess with, even knowing what I know. They're just huge, strong, and have very good athletic ability. Now, Of course, I would defend myself, but I wouldn't choose to fight these people. They're just freaks of nature. And there is some people out there that are like that. Most of them, most humans that I've met are loving. Most of them don't want to fight, but there's some evil people out there. I don't believe in teaching through fear. Fear is like when someone tells you the scenario of a dark alley, someone's going to jump out in front of you and all that. You know, awareness keeps you aware that there's a dark alley there and to give yourself room. Awareness lets you see somebody walking down the street that might be an issue to where you'll cross the street or you'll go into a store. It's not about having fear. It's about having awareness and not putting yourself in these situations. Those apply to everything, every bit of life. Okay, so that's where I'm going to focus on as far as my channel. I'm going to focus on mostly the healing aspects of the martial arts. I'm going to focus on some cool stories that I may have from the past. Eventually, I do want to start making money and get some people on the show. I do have some connections through martial arts that I can reach out to and have some good people come speak about the good that happens through martial arts. I love McDojo life. I really feel like they're doing a great thing. I do feel like they miss the mark sometimes, but I still love their content, and some of it's funny as shit. I'm not gonna lie. But I want to create content that is a little less biased than that. You know, I've been on both sides. I grew up fighting, winning those fights, thinking I never needed martial arts, when in fact, if I had understood martial arts at a young age, I would have saved myself from a lot of drama and a lot of bad choices. So hopefully you follow me on my journey. If you stayed this long, then I love you for that. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share my video. Let's get it out there. I challenge any traditional martial artists to come talk with me. I challenge any sport martial artists to come talk to me. From UFC all the way to boxers, whatever, wrestlers. I want to help you understand your power. I don't want to take away from that. I want to help you understand the strengths and weaknesses behind everything. And I feel like I've done enough training. I'm 49 right now. My body's broken down. I have an AC joint that's out right here. I have hardware in my right ankle that was a tib-fib spiral fracture that was nasty. I have a rebuilt kneecap in my left knee, and I've had back surgery. So I feel it right now, and I want to educate people. I want to help people. I want to help people understand that what they know has value. If you've studied a traditional martial art for your whole life, and you've never been on the ground, and you walk into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school with a confidence or ego, I should say, it's a little more than confidence, that you're actually going to take your black belt into this training, you have another thing coming, and you'll be humbled very quickly. I'll tell you that right now. So that's why I challenge anyone who has any type of experience in martial arts to put back on that white belt. Always. You have to always learn. You have to always be learning, and sometimes we shut ourselves off from that. And again, you'll devalue what you know. You'll devalue all the work that you've done, and you may never see it. You may never see it. What I want to help people understand is not to devalue yourself and the work you've done, no matter what it is, but keep learning. Keep learning. Keep being that white belt. keep understanding that even as a high level teacher, you could teach a technique to the class. You could sit back, let everyone practice, watch them doing those techniques. I learn mostly from people that don't know shit. I teach a technique. I watch the newcomers, because what those newcomers are going to do is they're going to do stuff that's totally off the cuff. They're going to move in ways that you shouldn't move. And they're going to do things that might teach you your next technique if you're open for it. Learn from those beginners in your class. Help them understand their power in the fact that, martial arts are based on the natural reactions of the human body. A lot of traditional martial arts are based on that. Sport is based on somebody who is trained like you and who has the same build and weight as you. So there's a lot to unpack there. And I want to do the unpacking. So please come with me on my journey. I'm not going to devalue anyone's practices. I'm not going to devalue the work that you've done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you see your strengths. I'm going to help you understand your weaknesses. I'm going to help you put back on that white belt. Get back into that beginner's mind, because we can all learn from beginners. We can all learn from people who have no idea what knowledge you have, who have no idea what you know. We can learn from them. I don't care who it is. If you stop learning, you're close to that place of your final resting spot, okay? And we don't want to go there. We want to stay healthy. And the older you get, your body's going to break down. But the most work comes from defending yourself from your own actions, your own decisions, and your own ego, okay? So putting on that white belt is completely shedding that ego, having an understanding that you can learn from anybody. Homeless people on the streets, people that you may deem less than you, which that should never be a thing, but there are some of us that do that. So just want to highlight some things for y'all. Going back to the beginning, and I need 50 subscribers on here in order to go live. I would like to go live so I can bring you constant content. So help me out, community. Help me out, community. And y'all have a great day understanding yourselves a little bit better. Hopefully this video opened your mind a little bit and is helping you think a little bit more about life or cross training if you are a martial artist. And being a teacher, you're not going to get challenged as much personally if someone questions your technique or wants you to show them the technique with total resistance. I'm going to share one story with you. I was about a green belt in my martial art. And I had my brother who's huge. He's 310 pounds. He's about 6'4". So he's a big dude. And I was talking about the art, and he tells me, okay, well, here, I'll grab your wrist. You show me. And I couldn't budge him. I was like, man, I was challenged, So I went back to my teacher. And my teacher, mind you, he's like 5'7", 5'8", Puerto Rican guy. Fast as shit, even at 50 when I met him. So he had me do the same thing to him. And he said, hold on really tight. And he tried it first and he couldn't do it either. But he smiled and then he just went like this to my face. And the fact that I went like this, it took my mind away from what I was doing and it made the technique go so much easier. So it was a moment in my training that was like, in every technique in the traditional martial arts that work, You have to have a distraction. A distraction can be many things. It doesn't have to be a punch in the face to make someone do this, right? Or to make someone want to look away. Or, I can go on and on with what a distraction is. But yeah, it was a mind-blowing experience, and I just want to leave y'all with that. I'm going to share more of those little gems with you along the way. Please follow me on my journey. Have a great day, y'all.